up, we gon' make some moves tonight. Yeah, stand up, got something to prove tonight. So stand up, we ain't gonna plan tonight. We gonna take action on our dreams and fight, alright. We ain't gonna stall, never stop. We gon' make it all till it's out. We ain't gonna plan tonight. We gonna take action on our dreams and fight, alright.
What's going on, folks? My name is Scott Schertzen, alongside, as always, Mr. Bill Akins, and welcome to Soccer Sports Writers React. I'm doing this a little differently in this case. I'm finally taking a page out of Pat Bernard's playbook here. I am actually going to be doing this both live here on YouTube and also over here on TikTok because, well, most of my comments on TikTok are usually football related or soccer related in this case, usually from angry Europeans who are pissed off that the World Cup is in the U.S. and being U.S.ized. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We will talk about U.S. women's national team because I don't think we've put a lot of time into that of late. They've got a really nice friendly coming up in Brazil. I've been on some press conferences with Emma Hayes and Trinity and a few of the other players there. So we'll talk about that. And Man City they got a lot of issues they're going to have to man up with. So, Bill, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. How about you?
No complaints. Hanging in there. So, yeah, let's kick this right out of the gate, I think. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on. I have a new report here that I want to talk a little bit about. A report came in from YouGov, which centers around general interest when it comes to, there we go, I'm trying to figure out how to do this. There we go. Interest in the World Cup itself, talking a little bit about what, the interest there. And while the U.S. across the board is not overly interested, the fact that 34% of kids from age 18 to 29 and also 43% from the ages of 30 to 44 are at least somewhat interested to very interested in the World Cup, I think is a very good number. The 45 and above, frankly, has no real interest there. But in this case, I'm curious to get your thoughts on this. Like I said, 34% of kids under 30, adults under 30, to be fair, let's call it what it is, and 43% from age 30 to 44 in the U.S. have some varying degree of interest in the World Cup. Is that good? That's bad? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, I don't know. The 45, what is it, 45 to 60?
The 45 to 64 right now is 23% have interest and about like 2% undecided. Let's put it this way. Our age group, by the way.
Yeah, right, exactly. I'm 45, and so, that's. I mean, it's a growing sport. We know that, right? I mean, and I think that you have the 44 and under. I think that they're some of them grew up when the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2 were. And probably played the FIFA games because they were totally awesome back then. And
you were Super Nintendo era, I would guess. You came in on that point.
Yeah, I mean, I like the PS1 too, but I remember playing the FIFA games. I mean, I remember having FIFA 2003 and in 2004. That was a good one. I mean, I think a lot of the older, and I guess I'm lumping us both into this, but a lot of, back when we were growing up, soccer kind of was, I don't know, it wasn't as popular as it's more, I don't know. I think because social media, I think there's a lot of, yeah, it just wasn't, you didn't see a lot of soccer, I don't remember seeing a lot of soccer on TV growing up, now it's everywhere. Now, you can, it's everywhere. I mean, there's channels literally devoted to, I mean, you can go on Pluto TV and watch Champions League.
I know, which is awesome. Dude, I love Pluto.
Right. So, and they have Galazzo. So, I mean, there's just so many options for, and I think these younger generation, that they're more exposed to the game. And so they like it more. They're more excited about it. Whereas us growing up, we didn't, I mean, you'd see it maybe on Worldwide Sports, twice a year, maybe.
Sure.
And that was when I was really, really young. I mean, I can remember even being in the 90s, being in like middle school and us getting cable and maybe seeing an English Premier League game once every once or twice every English Premier League season on ESPN too.
Yeah, if you got up early enough.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a lot to do with that. I think there's a lot of people still kind of set in their ways
Mhm.
that just don't acknowledge the game in that in our age bracket. But I also think that certain people like you and I who have kind of been around the world and done some things, and we're kind of like, I really fell in love with soccer 20 years ago when I went to Europe and
Mhm.
spent time there, and spent a lot of time there, and went to matches and saw firsthand,
In the real world, yeah.
yeah, saw firsthand, what the game's about, and how the pageantry, this, the fan commitment, the rabidness of some of these fans,
Sure.
like a religion. So you kind of fall in love with it. So
And that's what's interesting about that. Obviously, with the US having such an international audience, I think has something to do with it. But also because of the fact that it's being, I think, pushed more at the lower levels.
right,
Our age group is more NFL,
right,
NBA, you
hmm
know, uh, I would say hockey, baseball, but the younger generation, and I had a conversation with someone earlier today, the younger generation has a lot more interest in it because when it comes to something like soccer, all you need is two trees and a ball.
correct,
And, that's
hmm
basically all you really kind of need there. And then you
yeah,
go. With a lot of the other sports, you got to buy equipment. You got to, you get things set up. I mean, even basketball, while typically easy, still requires a specific location to shoot, unless you're going to practice dribbling and passing. But with
right,
soccer, I mean, when we were kids, yeah, you had like two trees or maybe a couple of cones or between cars. I don't know if
yeah,
you did that or not, but we used to do that
yeah,
where you try to aim to kick between the cars and then kick the car itself. Whoops.
yeah,
Um,
right,
but now, I mean, like I said, the fact that the younger generation has interest in the sport. And also, one thing I should add on this is when the World Cup was here back in 1994,
yeah,
80% of the people that actually in the US didn't even really know what World Cup even was because
right,
there was no MLS at that point. You
hmm
know, Major Indoor Soccer League was around, but it was like one of those little quirky things that was located in like San Diego. We had the
right,
Cosmos, but they flunked out early 80s. So soccer was so niche that the World
hmm
Cup was like, okay, cool. And then you had
right,
that Mia Hamm, and people back then were like, cool, Mia Hamm did something great. Who's that?
right,
you know,
yeah,
now the world, even if they don't follow the sport, knows Lionel Messi. They know Ronaldo.
right,
They might know Kylian Mbappe.
yep,
And that's where I think the growth of the sport has been beneficial and encouraging on the soccer side. My question
yeah,
to you on this, as I finally shut up,
yeah.
is can this actually help Major League Soccer?
I mean, yeah, I think it can. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it can. I think that Major League Soccer's it's growing in this sport. It's one of the top 10 leagues now in the world,
Yeah.
and and I think it's growing, and I think that there's a lot of people with interest in it. Um, finally, I think that there's maybe not globally. I mean, I know a lot of the global people in Europe and South America and things like that don't really
They have a
necessarily
better sport down there. You have to call it what it is.
yeah,
They have a better
right.
product.
Yeah. So I mean, it is what it is, but no, I mean, I think it's growing. I think the league, the MLS has been around 30 years
Yep.
now.
96.
And I mean, yeah, so I think I think Beckham helped that, but years back when
Mhm.
he came. I think Messi has grown it. I think there's other. I mean, Lewandowski, we're hearing
Mhm.
may decide to come as well. So I think it's just going to get it's going to get bigger.
Yeah.
It's already getting big. So
And obviously with World Cup having a lot of the issues that they've gotten, another one just came down the pipeline. I'll talk about that in a second.
yeah.
But the fact
I
that it's a week, go ahead, please.
no, go ahead.
I was going to say the fact that it's a week away, I think people have a lot of problems in person with this, with the ticket pricing and NJ Transit and all that. But
Right.
the idea of the watch party, I think, is where the key is really going to come in with stuff like this. And the watch parties are all over the place.
Yeah.
So you get together with some friends, you go to the bar. Granted, you're going to probably drop $100, but you know what? You have an easier, more fun environment
Right.
than sitting there, in what could be 90 some odd degree temperatures. And
Right.
Now, granted, I think the bars are going to jack their prices up. But even if you don't want to do that, get a bunch of guys together, order pizza, drink beer and soda, and there you go. You got a couch.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah. So I forget what I was going to actually say. I had something I wanted to say, but I forget what I wanted to say. So it'll come to me. So, but no, I mean, no. It's totally fine.
But,
so, but yeah, I mean, I think that that this I think it's going to be. I think there should be. Hey, I have a friend who doesn't know squat about soccer, and as it is, he he works in a hospital with a lot of doctors, and one of the doctors is a big soccer fan, and he's actually pumped for the World Cup. He's like, I really want to get into this. I really, so I mean, this is a guy who never really watched the sport, and
sure,
so it is. There's a lot of people out there that are going to be tuning in, I think, for the first time, and I hope it's a good product is put out there, and I think it will. I think we will have.
Good. Sorry.
No, as I said, I think we will have a good product.
I think it's streamlined in a lot of ways too. Throw-ins having 5 seconds, 10 seconds to get off the pitch in substitutions. Decisions like this that are going to speed up the game. Now, granted, they're going to have the hydration breaks, and things of that sort, which I know has irked a lot of people. We got to talk about the hydration breaks in a sec, but the fact that the matches themselves are going to be faster paced than what MLS would typically put out, I think can help the audience a little bit too. An audience that typically is going to be playing on their phones in the US while the matches are going on, and then you rewind, when something actually happens.
Right.
But I do have the concern a little bit on this side for people that are not fans of the sport, that are typically used to higher scoring sports, even baseball. Baseball, you could have an 8-10 run game on each side, and while not overly common, there is action there. A 2-1 final is more than common when it comes to the soccer and football sport. NBA, I mean, last night, what was it? I think it was 200 points were combined. That's a low scoring game for NBA Finals Game 1, 105-95. So I think when you have the U.S. that's used to higher scoring games, NFL being, you had 28-13 as a final, for example, right in the middle of the pack, to have 0-0 or 1-0, I think is going to irk some fans who are going to get bored with the lack of scoring.
Right. Yeah, potentially. I mean, the purest fans it won't bother us, but yeah, I mean, I think there's, potentially for that, there's going to be people that are going to be like, oh, a 1-1 draw,
Yeah.
So,
and that's where the whole thing about shootouts, I think, help a little bit. Would have helped in a situation like this too, but
yeah, agreed.
But it is what it is. And listen, I'm not going to judge that one. Shootouts are pretty much a very heavy U.S. thing anyway, because we need that finality. The rest of the world is why. It says why.
Right.
So, all right. So, yeah, that's basically it there. We can certainly come back to World Cup a little bit later, but I want to turn this over to you. Let's talk a little Man City for a minute. There's obviously a lot of drama going on right now. We're going to get to, I probably wouldn't call it part 1 of drama. I mean, the question that I'm going to turn right over to you, all the issues going on with Man City right now and all the headaches, do you think that had an impact on Pep saying adios?
Well, I tell you what, there's been widespread speculation about it. I mean, 115, charges, financial charges that are currently hanging over this club right now. And, he stated, that he's simply leaving because his time at the club has come to an end. He's been there 10 years, but I don't know, he said nothing is internal and the club needs new energy and a fresh approach. I'm not buying that. I think a lot of the reason why he left is because of these 115 looming financial charges that, and by the way, this what are they waiting for? I mean, this investigation was wrapped up in December of 2024.
Waiting till after World Cup, maybe?
I mean, that's the only thing I can think of.
Because you don't want to take away from whatever FIFA's got going on, obviously. And you don't, Man City is bigger franchise as they are. That's the news that's going to document, it's going to take the pages.
I mean, I hate to equate this to American football, what happened, a few years back, but it's almost like a Pete Carroll situation,
Okay.
where excuse me,
Sure.
where he, if we remember, he was hit with all these
Mhm.
allegations of misconduct by NCAA when he worked or when he was coach at USC. Just jumped ship and went to the Seahawks. It's kind of the same way. I mean,
Mm.
Pep's saying that he's going to step away and he wants to just rest. Because let's face it. I mean, he's been in.
There's probably
He's
validity to at least partially to that.
Yeah. I mean, definitely because he's been in on a I mean, obviously a tumultuous 10 years. I mean, it's just it's I mean, being a manager in the Premier League is tough. It's long hours.
Mhm.
It's very little time off, and you're constantly on the go. And it's a tough job. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, for us to just, I mean, his explanation, like I said, was kind of like, I'm not buying it. I'm not fully buying it. And I know Mubarak, the chairman of Manchester City, supported what he said, basically saying, the demanding nature of the job has, led Pep to step down. And he even said he tried to quit 100 times in the past. I think is what the quote was,
Yeah, I
and
saw that.
and they simply just mutually agreed that this time was right. I'm just not buying it. I mean, and hey, you know, it's not to say that FIFA can't, if he decides not to manage for a few years, and after the World Cup, the gauntlet comes down on them, and it's it's not there's nothing saying that FIFA can't reach out and touch Pep. I mean,
Sure.
he's so I mean, this is but I don't know. I think that I think there's trouble on the horizon,
Mhm.
and I think he just wanted to kind of get out from under it ahead of time. If you ask me, I might be wrong about it, but this
At least he can go out on his own terms kind of a thing, you know?
right. I mean, the timing of this departure to me has really fueled this debate, and
Sure.
it coincides with an ongoing, long running inquiry into all these breaches. I mean, 115 that we're looking at, and he has stated that he trusts the club's versions of what happened in these allegations, and you know I don't know. It's but he's exiting just before the independent commission brings their verdict down. And I think, like you said, I think a lot of it comes to do with has to do with the World Cup. They don't want to bring this gavel down prior to the World Cup. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They
And even
want they
during.
correct. They want this to kind of they want this to be an after the fact, to not because let's face it. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen. But what if they strip the title?
Hmm.
And what if they did, what if they would have done this prior to the World Cup? That would have been the news. I mean, that it
Yeah.
would have taken away from the World Cup in some aspects. So
A lot of them, because obviously this is no small franchise here. I
right.
mean, Man City and Pep are some of the biggest names in the sport on the European side
Oh,
of it. You know,
it's like the Yankees are to baseball. I mean,
yeah,
really,
this isn't some like some team over in Poland or even La
right,
Liga. This is the cream of the crop here.
right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, this isn't like you know, Ajax or something. Even I don't know. I'm trying to think of a club
this is
that's
this is like basically a Mr. Beast level scandal on the YouTube side of things.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's not like you know,
This is
I don't know.
this is like Milli Vanilli lip syncing.
Yeah, it's not like Luton Town or something like that. This is Manchester City. You know what I'm
Sure,
saying?
yeah.
So this is yeah. It's big. And
But
but yeah, I mean, a lot of people have asked, what are they waiting for? This investigation has been wrapped up. since December of 2024. Like, what are they waiting for? And I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. I think it's World Cup.
Yeah.
You know,
You don't want to distract from any of that,
right,
with something, like I said, this huge.
right.
And also would in some ways tarnish, and it's not so much the U.S. side, it's really just the European side,
Yeah.
because I mean,
Well, can I spin something off of this?
please.
I mean, I really believe this is why Real Madrid has stepped in and is trying to poach Erling Haaland. Because I think that they know something's coming down, and I think he wants out of there too.
Mhm.
I mean, I think he's next to see go. I really do.
Mhm.
They've not made an official bid for him, but they had the presidential election for Real Madrid,
Yep.
and I don't know whether you saw that, but they claimed that he had already signed a notarized agreement that's going to bring Holland to Real Madrid if he
Mhm.
wins this election. So
Yeah, and like I said, in this case, the legal aspect of it, again, it is just, and this is all the more reason why Pep was probably like, peace, because
yeah,
it's just another thing that's going on right now. Um, but the question is, what is that going to do to obviously everything within the Man City group, and all the other teams that are tied to it?
right. Well, and like I said, this Erling Haaland. I mean, I know Man City's dismissing it. Erling Haaland and his father, they've come out and dismissed it as well, saying not true. But I tell you what, man, I don't know if
Yeah.
you're if if these allegations are going to be damning to this club,
Oh yeah.
he's going to want out of there, and Real Madrid's got the money, and he's I mean I think he would fit pretty good in that on that club. um so I don't know. I think it's where there's smoke there's fire
Oh
usually.
yeah.
I mean, this people just don't make this. This. I mean, the president, elect for
Hmm.
Real Madrid is coming out and saying that, hey, this is like all but a done deal.
Yeah.
So
But again, you can't talk. I mean, the fact that it happened in this regard, and again, it's another bad look for Man City. I think even more than Madrid in this case.
yeah, oh
So,
yeah, and I
but
don't blame Real Madrid for trying to step in
sure.
and poach this guy. I mean, trust me, I'm an Arsenal fan. I would love to not have to go against Erling Haaland
Well, again,
every year.
let me ask you this: because the CFG umbrella is so huge and led by Man City, I mean, obviously NYCFC, Girona, Yokohama F Marinos,
Yeah,
the team Melbourne City
yeah,
in Australia. I mean, their
right,
their collective fingers are in so many different teams here. What
right.
do you think that's going to do with a lot of them, including NYCFC? Obviously, because that's going to affect me.
Oh, I don't know.
You
I
know,
mean,
I mean,
from what
NYCFC. Good. Sorry.
well, no, I was just going to say, from what I understand, I mean, all these allegations are financial, uh, you know,
Mhm.
violations. But I mean, from what I understand, some of them are pretty,
Damn.
pretty egregious.
Hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah, but
I mean, if you're Erling Holland, would you want to stay on this club knowing what's on the horizon?
oh no, rats off a ship.
Right.
You know, I mean, listen, we've all been in situations before, where you can tell like a company is going out of business or having a problem like this, and you get out
Absolutely.
while you can.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to follow up on one right now to find out what happened to it because it disappeared. They may have taken the money and run to South America. I'm not sure, but it's something where, like I said, it when you can basically tell the writing is on the wall. And again, this is where I wonder how this is going to trickle down on all the other teams that CFG is tied to,
Right.
because everything runs pretty much through Man City. And that I'm not just talking like the money side, but the decisions are made. A lot of the other teams physically work for CFG and by extension Man City.
Mhm.
NYCFC has agreements with players when they reach a certain age, they go east. And Tyler Magno years ago was forced to become a 9 against
Right.
his skill set, and I think it ruined his career across the board because of the fact that people over Man City and CFG said make him a striker, He was not built for that. And the injuries happened, the numbers happened, and I think his career tanked. Sucked.
I mean, and this is coming from an Arsenal fan, but weren't you over the years, over the last 10 years, weren't you a little weren't you a little bit like skeptical of why this team has all this success all the time?
It's,
Was it, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're just kind of like, I don't know. Like, these guys, they seem to strike while the iron's hot all the freaking time. In the transfer window, they
mhm.
they seem to just,
There's
I
so
don't know.
many. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, there's so many things that go on behind the scenes that we don't know about. I mean, you look at what happened with the Patriots here in the U.S. I mean, they had Deflategate. It's like, okay, that
Right.
kind of, or
Right.
Houston Astros,
Right.
2017. I mean,
Right.
for God's sakes, they were literally caught cheating on video. John Boy
Trash cans.
launched his entire
Yeah.
YouTube career because of that,
Yeah.
and they were just like, "Yeah, they shouldn't have done that."
Right.
And that was the end of
That
it.
was the end of it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, we apologize for any inconvenience. There you go. So you always wonder in cases like this when you have 6 titles, is there something behind the scenes or is he really just that good?
Yeah, and I mean, I always question that. I mean, me of being all the people of being an Arsenal fan for 30 years. I always was like, what? Like, it just doesn't. These guys, like, you know like, God, they've got the gold. They're being touched by the hand of God here.
Oh yeah.
And wasn't surprised when I first heard about this in like midsummer of 24. I wasn't surprised at all
Hmm.
when I heard this. I'm like, oh wow.
I'm pretty sure he'll be okay financially. I mean, he does get his residual checks from that one episode of Ted Lasso where he had one scene, so
Right.
that'll help him through.
Yeah.
But again, in this case, wherever he wants to go, he can.
Right, but I mean, like I said, don't think that FIFA can't reach out and touch him. Don't
Oh
think
yeah,
that they can't say, "Hey, you're not going to be able to, if you do decide to manage somewhere, you're you're going to be suspended for the first year." Or I don't know what they would do. I mean, I have no idea.
well, there's been a lot of complaints about possible corruption with FIFA anyway. So
Well,
you know,
and that's a whole nother topic.
but is it
I
tied
mean,
together? We don't know. And
exactly. Yeah, that's yeah. Is it tied together? Right. And what is this? What is this? Is this a witch hunt? Is this a, what is it? I mean, I obviously there's something not kosher.
sure,
115 violations, that's a lot. That's a lot.
that is a ton. Yeah, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. But like I said, there's so many issues going on in so many different ways. I'll just mention this super quick. But FIFA's back in hot water again with the fan base because they just made the announcement recently. They went backwards on this. They said that see-through water bottles are not allowed to be brought into the stadiums anymore. Originally, they could. And this is something that has led a complaint because now if you want water, you got to buy it at the stadium for probably what, $20 a bottle, $25 a bottle for a 17-ounce bottle, where a lot of times you used to be able to just bring one in, refill it at a water fountain, and voila, adios. So
Right.
the fact that that can't be done anymore is another thing that people are like, what the hell?
Yeah. It's just unbelievable, some of the things that have happened.
Oh yeah. But
You know.
and obviously what's funny also is the fact that the ticket sales for NJ Transit is like 6% right now because nobody's like paying $98 for tickets, that they're trying
Right.
to figure out new solutions here. But
Right.
but I posted this on TikTok the other day. In a 5-day stretch, New Jersey Transit had 6 different delays of 30 to 60 minutes in length.
Wow.
5 days, 6 delays, half an hour to an hour each, coming out of Penn Station. And that's on a
Wow.
regular transit day. That's not even a World Cup day, man.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
Oh, it is the worst transit system I've ever seen. And if you have people that come in from Europe where they're used to things showing up within like 1 minute, it's like, it was
Right.
90 seconds late. This sucks. It's like,
Right. Yeah.
90 seconds.
Oh yeah.
90 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, I've when I was in Italy, I mean, I took a lot of trains, Germany,
Mhm.
Balkans. I was, and yeah, I know their stuff is it runs very efficient over there.
It just,
Um
so good.
No, it just runs very efficient over there, and yeah, they're going to be in for a rude awakening.
In Japan, if a train is 5 minutes late, you are legally allowed to get a document from the train crew acknowledging that they were late and excusing you for whatever you happen to be late. So if you had a job interview and you're late to it because the train was at least 5 minutes late, they have to legally allow it.
Yeah. That's great. I'm all for it.
Yeah,
All for it.
I think it was an hour or 90 minutes, you get like an entire year free or something like that too. But
Hey,
yeah,
I'm all for it.
yeah, the thing I found last year in Yokohama. Meanwhile here it's like you're late, just deal. So
Right.
anyway, so are you good on Man City, such as it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So I wanted to scoot over to this here. This came through J.R. DeBart, well-known, well-respected sports writer for NYCFC. Let me open this up a little bit here.
Yep.
I don't know if you heard about this one, but with the new stadium that they have for Etihad Park, apparently you cannot get season tickets for non-premium seats and a single-year package. So if you want to be a season ticket holder and not have to pay for the really expensive seat, you have to go with a 3-year commitment at a minimum. Because apparently Etihad Park is taking the money up front on this one. And I don't know what the ticket prices are, quote unquote, they're working this out, but the fans are really legitimately pissed off because, for years, for a decade, they've been operating on the auspices of being able to do, a season at a time, eat wherever they happen to sit, wherever it happens to be, just the comfortable spot, which is not like right up front, but a good spot overall. And now it's like, nope, you got to do 3 years up front as a minimum.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane. I mean, that's really trying to, that's really committing people to a long period of time,
People that may not necessarily have the cash either. So,
right.
I mean, one season's tough enough at 17 matches. Now you're looking at 51 plus playoffs.
Right.
So and then of course, if there's Leagues Cup or anything else like that, it happens to be in there as well. I don't know how that works out, but the fact that is such a huge commitment on something like this, clearly NYCFC is trying to get the money back for the investments that they put in. Because remember, that stadium was not actually paid for by the taxpayers.
Right.
It was paid for by the team and CFG. And the fact that this is also, ironically enough, the first fully solar-powered stadium, you'd think that would have saved some degree of electric bills on something like this, but I don't know.
Well, I tell you what, if they're going to do that, they better deliver. I mean, that's all I got to say.
The top comment on this one, by the way, is like, we better sign Mbappe.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the team has never really been strong when it comes to stunning signings. It's always been kind of a growth from within kind of a thing, but they've never really dropped the hammer and be like, we just got this person and have everybody, get excited. You get these kind of guys that think, okay, that's cool. He did this, this, and this, but it's more of the patch job all along.
Right.
So they're not getting Mbappe. That's just, and Pep Guardiola is not coming to NYCFC. Sorry, that is not happening. Boy, are the fans hoping for that one, but some of them, but
yeah. Well,
but this is not a good look.
No, not at all. That's not the way to, that's not a way to please your fan base at all or bring new fans in. That's not a good idea.
Yeah. And I don't know what's going to happen here. Now, for me personally, I'm not really that excited for Etihad Park. I think it's really gorgeous. Don't get me wrong, but I'm nervous about it because I'm not nervous about it, but my commute to Yankee Stadium is so dang easy right now. And Red Bull Arena is actually easy. Heading out to Queens can be at 45 minutes on a good day.
Right.
An hour and a half on a bad day, 2 different tolls I got to pay. Right. And that adds up in this case. So I like Yankee Stadium because it's one toll, 20 minutes with no traffic, and bam, I'm there. Right. Now I have to deal with all this kind of stuff, a little song and dance, and who knows where they're going to put us too.
Yeah.
This could be a Red Bull Arena type situation. I was talking to John Phillips about this the other day, where he didn't even refer to the press access at Red Bull Arena as press access. It's more like, we hate you, go up here.
Right.
Because it's so upper tier in a corner there that you can't really, it's okay. It's a nice spot, but versus wherever else we go, including even the Union with Subaru Park, It has a giant pillar in the middle, but you get a decent view despite that, depending on where you're sitting. And here they're going to put us in nosebleed or something like that. It's going to hurt. It's going to piss off the writers.
Right.
So
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah,
You know.
I don't have a lot of faith. I'll be honest. Sorry, NYCFC fans, I don't have a lot of faith on that one. So,
Yeah. So.
but all right. So I've got one other big thing, and then I'll open it up to whatever you've got and anything else too. But we haven't talked too much about this. But the U.S. women's national team has been doing pretty well of late too, with the friendlies that they had, the matches against Japan. They've got a big friendly coming up in Brazil in a couple of days here, and I've been on press conferences with Emma Hayes like all week, and the players and everything like that. It's pretty constant. Even the press conference that we had yesterday with 3 of the players has drawn 5,000 views on this channel and like 500 some odd watch hours, like 600 watch hours. So there's clearly an absolute interest here. But one of the things that Emma said was she wanted to go to Brazil because she wants the players to know what it's like to be in a hostile playing environment.
I mean, hey, baptism by fire. That's where to do it. I mean, absolutely. I like it. I liked it. I
Yeah.
think that's get them out of their comfort zone. Yeah, I mean, they're gonna have 2 friendlies. I think one in Sao Paulo and what's the other one?
Yeah,
Fortaleza?
Yeah, back inside of a week.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I know she just recently named her 26-player roster.
Yep.
You got the reunion of the triple espresso, that attacking trio.
I was just gonna say that was the press conference that really drew numbers too.
Yeah, Trinity Rodman, my girl,
Mm-hmm.
Sophia Wilson, and Mallory Swanson. I mean, that's that's the first time they've been together since what 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Since the baby. Yeah,
the gold medal run.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah. So I've decided in this case here, the executive decisions that I make on an impulse, we will be doing a lot more with U.S. women's national team, because right now men's national is getting all the attention at the moment, and women will be under the radar, except for the fact that like NWSL crushes in the ratings, but it still doesn't really get as much press coverage because it's not as big as whatever Matt Turner and Tim Ream and all these guys are doing. So we're going to probably lean a little bit more into that. Also, because again, I'm on press conferences all the time for this stuff. It's like, all right,
So. Here's the other question. And Sophia Wilson, obviously, Mallory Swanson. They, have both returned from international duty, and you had the maternity leave and all that. But Trinity Rodman, she had a lot of back issues. She's had some back problems.
She did talk about that.
Is she fully recovered from that? That's a question I have.
She said she is in this case here. It remains to be seen how much that really is, because you don't really want to come out in a press conference and say, yeah, it's not that great, because you don't want to leak any information. So she said it's fine in this case. They may limit her minutes somewhat because, again, it is a friendly. So you got to look at it from the perspective of not going full 100% on something like this because you're still prepping for next year. And again, like you said, two matches back to back on the 6th and the 9th. So there's short rest on that as well. So you might see 30, I would say.
Well, and she's had, she's been on some good teams in the NWSL.
Yeah.
And she's played late in seasons, and she's played a lot, in the last couple of years. So, but I don't know that I know that was a big question with her is that those lingering back issues that she's been having.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I'll be curious to see how that ends up going in this case. Very curious to see how the team reacts to what like I said, was a challenging environment here. And I like like you referred to it as trial by fire, because this is not the U.S. This is one of the harshest places to go as a visiting team.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's going to prep them well for 2027.
Yeah, and I like what Emma Hayes is doing. She's like, hey, listen, we got to go down here and get acclimated to hostile environments because we're more than likely going to be playing in some of them in 2027.
Mm-hmm.
So, so I like it.
And I think it's not like these players can't handle it anyway, but
no.
Better now, than like say 6 months from now, a year from now. Get it out of the way, get the prep there. That way, if it is difficult now, and say just hypothetically someone has a problem with it psychologically, not saying they would, playing devil's advocate, you've got time to fix it.
Absolutely.
You just got to be prepared for whatever swears are coming to you in Portuguese.
Right. Exactly.
So,
And some of them can't speak Portuguese anyway, so they don't care.
muito bem.
Yeah.
There you go. Not to speak Portuguese
So,
on that. But
yeah.
yeah, I mean, like I said, I like what the U.S. women's national team has been doing.
Yeah.
Men's national has a lot of questions here where they're going to go and how that's going to be.
Yeah.
We'll deep dive that, I think, a little bit more probably next week, especially
Yeah.
just because of everything that's going on with that team. They did have the good match against Senegal.
Yeah, it was a good match. I watched that. I mean, it was a good match down in Charlotte. A lot of people turned out for that match too.
Yeah. A lot of people turned. I think it was what 1.1 million watched it across the
Yeah.
platform. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they were not perfect. Let's be very clear on this.
No,
That
they
was not
weren't.
a perfect game by any
Well,
stretch.
I'm going to tell you right now, what we got coming up with Germany is really going to be the litmus test.
Yep.
For me, I mean, it's not. I'm not taking anything away from Senegal. I know they made they made the cut and everything like that. They're a legitimate squad, but I tell you what, they're really going to get tested against Germany. Make
Yep.
no mistake about it. And uh, I'm very interested to see how they're going to do against Germany because, like I said, that's going to be the litmus test.
Sure. And I mean, Senegal was ranked 14th, US was ranked 16th. But again, we've talked about this last week. You have teams, in a lot of the European countries who've spent so many years together as such a cohesive unit more than the US have.
Yeah.
Now, I think they are leaning towards Matt Turner being a starter on this case. I think it's the right call, only because he has the World Cup experience. Taylor Twellman also had something on the press conference the other day saying he believes that as well.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what my biggest concern is right now, and I think that this is pretty much everybody's biggest concern, is Chris Richards.
Yep.
I mean, he obviously missed the Senegal friendly. He's rehabbing that ankle injury. They're right now that I mean, reports are the medical staff is racing to get him match fit, and they're running out of time.
Yeah.
Running out of time quickly.
And this team is not built deep enough to be able to absorb something like that.
One
bad injury. Yeah.
It's not, and I that's really concerning at this point in time.
Yeah.
So.
And also with Tim Ream's age, you got to wonder about that a little bit too.
Yeah, he's 38.
Yeah. I mean, 38 is not. I mean, you can run on 38, but I just watched a 39-year-old possibly end his career on an ACL.
I know.
Maxi Morales.
Right.
But there's a lot of questions here. But I think, let me ask you this question. What would you consider to be successful here? I mean, obviously getting out of the group stage is very clearly, obviously, but what would you deem as a good, successful run for the home team?
I mean,
making you think on that.
Tough.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean that's tough. I mean, obviously getting out of your state, your group would be ideal. I don't know. I mean, I'd really have to kind of,
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on something like this.
I mean, I don't know. I'd have to stew on that a little bit.
Fair. Sorry to drop that on you.
No, it's fine. No, I mean it's I'd have to stew on that a little bit.
Fair. So. I mean, the other side of it is, and this is probably the last bit that I've got, is the fact that actually a lot of the players, this is where I was going to go with this. MLS had, I believe, the 7th most amount of players going into World Cup.
Yeah.
As a league, which is impressive. I was going to say something, lost my train of thought, had to find it again. But I was impressed by that part of it. Granted, it's 48 teams, so the numbers are higher. NYCFC had 3 with Matt Freeze, Kai and Aiden, both in Australia. But it's improvement. Now, whether they go to 64 countries next time around, the Vatican's going to have a World Cup team.
Yeah. I mean, hey, and that speaks volumes. I mean, and that's I've said it before. That's why this league is in the top 10 in the world right now. Finally. I mean, it wasn't for a long time, and now it's finally cracked that top 10. And you're starting to see, like I said, you're starting to see an influx of talent
Hmm.
from worldly talent that's coming in and playing. So, but I'm going to tell you this. I'm stewing on this a little bit. So I'm going to get back to your question. I want to answer it.
Okay.
Um, I think obviously the advance from the group stage would be one, but I think either you reached a round of 16 or quarterfinals.
I
I
was going
mean,
to say, yeah,
to me that would be a realistic expectation for me for the U.S. men's national team.
but not go out badly either.
Not go out badly.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. It's just like college basketball, right? If the bracket breaks favorably
Yep.
in your favor, could you make a deep run into the semifinals? Like I said, it's possible if the bracket breaks in your favor. Um, you know, I mean, I think if you reach the final 8 on your home soil, would
Yeah.
just be, just imagine that would just be, you know, far exceeding expectations. I hate to see it, but I hate I hate to say that that's what they should be aiming for, but that would be unprecedented, really, to be
Sure.
honest with you.
But if they don't get out of the group stage, it's embarrassment central.
Yeah. I don't want to see it. Yeah, exactly. Like you had stated, you don't want to see a group stage collapse. That's the last thing you want to see. Um, you know, I mean, I don't know. I think that it's going to be. I think round of 16 is very realistic at this point.
Let's pull this up super quick. See if I got this right. I'm going to raise. I'm going to. So I got the friendly.
But I mean, I think you should definitely reach for the top 8. I think you should definitely reach for the top 8, and if you don't get there, I don't look at it like it's a failed run.
Mm-hmm. I think Paraguay, maybe a wash. Australia, I think Australia is going to be interesting. Mainly because of the fact that Aiden and Kai are going to be going against Matt Freese possibly.
Right.
And the last time that happened, Aiden almost injured Matt Freese in a friendly, and a lot. It became a massive, massive issue there because Aiden went like full Australian on that.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I don't know. What do you think their biggest weakness is at this point in time?
I would say just scoring. Simply put, I trust the back end a fair bit. I do trust Matt Turner. I think in goal. I think he's a little wiser than 4 years ago as well. The loss of Adyaman, I think, is going to hurt them some, but I'm just concerned about them getting that ball into the net. Senegal, they did it quasi 5 times, but 2 of them got called back.
Right.
But I don't know. Like I said, my biggest thing is they've got to score 2, I think, on a regular, at minimum 2.
Yeah. I mean, they are aggressive with that high press. And they've got that tactical shift. They've got that 3-4-2-1 that Pochettino likes to use. And that's for possession and control. But I mean, I agree putting the ball in the back of the net, but I also think there's a little bit of defensive frailties in this.
Yeah, you asked me to pick one, so that's why I went with the 1.
No, I know. No, I know. That would be
there's a lot of question marks with this team right here.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
but I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll find out starting in 8 days too. So,
like I said, don't you think the quarterfinals for me is kind of like the ceiling, right? It's kind of like the ceiling with this squad. If they could get there, I mean, gosh, reaching the top 8 would be the peak realistic goal. But like I said, the round of 16. I mean, I think they can get there. What do you think?
I think that's doable. I think that's got to be a minimum floor here.
Absolutely.
But I also look at it from the perspective of the sport as a whole, because this is the U.S. on the biggest stage in the planet, and their home turf. So the pressure of making sure that the team does not bomb out in the group stages, I mean, you have to think about it from the. I mean, the players are not thinking about this, but The execs are. Don Garber is watching this right now, looking at this and thinking, how can Major League Soccer in my final years with with his league, how can they benefit from this? And they benefit from a deep run.
Well, yeah, and he's thinking about legacy too.
Yeah,
I mean, he doesn't want to stain on his leg exit, and it could harm his legacy as
sure.
well, and rightfully so. I mean, I don't blame him.
Yeah,
So.
But I mean, his legacy, all in all, I think overall has been pretty solid. There hasn't really been too many,
No.
issues. There hasn't been like some of the other issues that have, with other executives, like Manfred or any of these other guys that are out there, Gary Bettman.
Yeah.
So I think he's secure, but again, at the same time, if this is his last year, he wants to go out well.
Yeah, he's not booed either.
That's why I mentioned Bettman.
People don't boo him.
Stanley Cup Finals are going on right now.
Right. I think. Yeah. Oh yeah, he is. So's Goodell. I mean, but listen, I think the MLS is. I think it's in a good spot right now. I really do.
But
I
do. They got to capitalize on this.
Oh, absolutely. This is the golden goose right here. This is what you really want to, this is what you're hoping you can finally kind of, put yourself in a better position. This is big stuff. So
sure. And then immediately after this, also we had the Premier League Summer Series too, with all the Premier League teams coming over here. I have to look it up. I forget who's there. But, Yankee Stadium, Red Bull Arena's got one. I've already put in the request to be able to get press access again for that.
Awesome.
I think if I don't remember, I think it was Man City and Wrexham. I think we're playing at Yankee Stadium. Which
yeah.
Is,
yeah. Yep.
Because I know, because we were on the press conference with Rob McElhenney the other day. And yes, I name dropped that. Sorry, I couldn't help it.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Always Sunny, so I had to.
Yeah.
But but he, a lot of the questions were about bringing Wrexham to the U.S. And with Yankee Stadium being a pitch that is one of the worst pitches in the world, I mean, my God, that is a terrible looking, place to basically play football.
Right.
I am curious to see, because last year David Moyes referred to MetLife Stadium as American grass, and not in a loving way.
Yeah, I mean. Well, and hey, there's a lot of different. When you play on American football fields, it's crowned, and there's a lot of complaints with that as well. So I know they try to, they try to kind of, smooth that out as best as they can.
Sure.
So, but
so we'll see what happens. But anything else, sir?
No, I think I don't think I'm just checking my notes. I think that's I think we about covered.
I think so.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, there's we're what 2 weeks? We're less than 2 weeks away right now.
Yeah, not even a week and a half. A week from tomorrow. First,
a week from tomorrow. Yeah,
US Men's National.
Right.
I'll get the words right.
Yeah.
9 p.m. So.
Yeah. So yeah. No, I think we covered it.
Cool. So. All right. So, I got a second-degree burn on my thumb, so I just clap like an idiot.
Oh.
So yeah, I burned myself yesterday like a schmuck. Anyway, on that note, appreciate the time. Let me know in the comments what you guys want. Anyway, I'm Scott. That's Bill. Thanks as always. Take care, and stay awesome.